Good morning. So, plan for today, obviously, get this thing done and finished. I've got another carbide tool in place. I'm going to be taking this section here down to about this scribe mark down to 1.25 inches. I've got my stop installed at the appropriate point, so it's going to leave me just a hair beyond this mark so I can go through and actually face it after I've got this diameter down to 1.25 inches. I'm taking it down to that so Mike actually has a piece to sleeve the head here onto when he's making, or excuse me, when he is attaching the head, which is what this will be, onto the handle. So, without further ado, we're going to see whether or not this one behaves as I expect it to. I've been having problems getting the speed and feed rates dialed in for these. So rather than forcing you guys to sit through me having this whole thing chatter and pause and readjust and chatter and pause and readjust and on and on and on, I'm just going to be fighting with it until I get it right, at which point I'll kick it on and you can observe further. Battery in the camera died, so y'all missed a bit. Sorry about that. Fortunately, I do have spare batteries, so when I noticed it, plugged the new one in. Anyway, back to work. Okay, I've got this cut down to 1.25 inches. I've got a little bit of chatter up here, but I don't foresee that being a problem, as this whole bit is for alignment, and it's going to have another piece of heavy wall tubing around it, and Mike will be welding that tubing in place right up here. I've left a much longer shank on this, so if Mike does need that additional length to it, he has it there available. If not, angle grinder in 5 minutes, done. Now I'm going to be cutting the curve on this one first, and then I'll be doing the shallower curve on this one. I've got my little weird round bit here, and on I go. I'm going to turn the speed down. I'm not running quite so quick, and see if that helps with the chatter. So let's see if that did the job or not. Kinda? Something's up. This isn't cutting consistently like it was previously. I suspect I've got some shmoo in there that is stopping it from seating how it's supposed to. That and the fact that all these carbide inserts should not be held in place with pan heads like these. See how they're flat on the bottom? You want screws that you can countersink, because there's a very slight bevel right there that, a bevel right there that would actually act to press the whole thing in place. So I have to nose around a minute and see if I can't find some 1032 countersink screws, because all I have are the round head screws, which good enough, but not good enough. So I'm back. I had to blow out to my local hardware store, and even though I know a couple of good local companies, no one had socket head screws that were set for countersink in 1032. So I had to go with Phillips head again. So we will see how well this goes. And it is intentionally a mile long on the threads. That is my doing. But that should angle it how I think it needs to go. And if it doesn't, I will have to rejigger the seat for this even further, which I am not keen on doing. But it's what I know I'd have to do to make it work. So we're going to try again and see if it chatters like mad. just like all the others, or what? Hopefully not this time. I'll call that pretty good. Because despite the chatter and the fact that I know this has a terrible rough surface finish to it right now, it's got the general swoop that I was chasing. So now I've got to go through with a round file, well, half round file, and clean this up and get the swoop really pretty. So, but overall, form-wise, I'd say that's about as good as I can hope to get for the curvy bit on it. So that means I need to get in and start on this. So now that I've got the majority of the material removed and I've got the general contour of these curves set, I'm going to go in with my die grinder here in a moment and finish getting these cleaned out. This one I'm probably going to have to go in with a half round file, which As you can see, it's kind of round. I actually used one of these last time on the Buster Sword pommel parts, and I believe I also used one on the Angus Fang hammer build. I did not have a die grinder at the time though, so. And I'm not going to be running this terribly high speed either, because one, I don't have a huge air compressor yet, and two, that air compressor's noisy as all get out, so you won't be able to hear anything at all. So I'm going to put my earphones on and get to it on this. While generally effective, it's not fast enough. So I'm going to break out the angle grinder and a flap wheel. In case you're wondering, the t-shirt's here on top of the ways on my lathe to keep any grit from grinding and sanding and filing from actually getting on there and ground in, because that's not a good thing to have happen. As threatened, in with the angle grinder. That is a decent surface finish. I've just got to be able to get up in that corner there. And the current disc I have for my flap wheel is just a hair too big. There we go. Found the right one. Yeah, I've still got a little bit of a hump right here that I don't like, but you can't see it, you can only feel it. So, wrong way. I think I can almost call that good enough. Almost. And flap wheel's still going okay. Wrong way again. Right. I think, yeah, I'm going to call that done, because it's got the slight curve that was in my drawing, and it's continuous. I don't have any chatter marks to it. Now this one, it's not really any way I can get the flap wheel and the angle grinder on it, so I'm going to put those down before I'm tempted to try. And those, well, this I'm just going to be using the round file on. So it's pretty straightforward. Side note, if you ever do end up using a file on a lathe, make sure there's a handle. Because if you've ever met a stick tang on most files, like Nicholson's and whatnot, here, let me grab one. Like these, see? Nice and pointy. Now imagine that gets caught and shoved back while my hand's like this. It's gonna go right up into my arm. I've never had that happen to me, but I'm told that is a bad idea. And that's enough. I've had enough damage on my hands, thank you. So, time for filing. Better. I've still got some more chatter marks to get out on this side, but overall I'd say that's a good start. I'm calling that one done. I think I am just going to use my my die grinder and wheel on that a little bit. Because unlike my angle grinder, I can control the speed on this thing. Alright, I gotta kick my compressor back on for a bit because this is just about out of juice. And I will pick this back up in a bit. So while I was standing around waiting on the compressor to refill, I thought to myself, hey, why don't I just go ahead and sand this in with my sandpaper, and came out pretty nice. So I figured, well, let me just try the next section, see how it came out. Came out pretty damn good. So I'm just gonna carry on with just the sandpaper and this running and see if I can get that little bit cleaned up, and then if so, that just means that I've got to do this part down this way, and that would be the axe bit and point at the very end done. Calling that a winner. Yeah. Yeah. Hooray, sandpaper. So now I've got to do a rounded transition down here. You recall a while ago I drew you a really terrible picture where it was kind of this, but what we're going to do is we're going to come in from here. So I've got to come in almost straight on this so I can get that angle, or so I can get the transition to be dead across in a flat line. So I've got to clean up, and it is quitting time for me. I gotta say though, this came out very nicely. I'm pleased. Very pleased. And I know most of you that are watching this have no idea what this is going to be. That's intentional, because it's not mine to reveal. Later.